How's it going, everyone? This is ND Sean 45 of the Two Irish Brothers Show. Well, it's been 24 hours since the insanity with Brian Kelly. And let's face it, that insanity is still going on. Myself personally, I've come down a great deal from last night. Not that I was really that bad to begin with, but despite all that, there's still all these thoughts racing through my mind of what's going to happen moving forward. Um, and unfortunately, it's the case of only fearing the worst, because there is a lot of concerns. I mean, who is the next head coach going to be? What's going to happen with players that are currently on the team? Are they going to enter the transfer portal? How many recruits could we possibly lose from this ordeal? I mean, I did see that we lost one already today, a defensive back recruit. I forget his name, but we have officially lost one. So that's not good. But regardless of that, we still got a task at hand. There's still business to be taken care of. And so that's what I'm really going to focus on in this video. That's what the focus should be right now. So as we all saw, the last round of the college football playoff rankings have been released tonight. Well, when I say last, I mean before the championship games and Selection Sunday coming up this week. And really, for me, there were really no big surprises. Everything that I thought would happen did. Let's talk about the top four first. Still unanimous number one, the Georgia Bulldogs. Number two, the Michigan Wolverines. And I thought that's exactly what was going to happen, that they would move up to number two. And then Alabama stayed at 3, Cincinnati stayed at 4. So no real surprises in the top 4. So basically all that happened was Michigan and Ohio State switched spots, and we all kind of knew that was going to happen. Now for the first two out at numbers 5 and 6, what I did suspect would happen did happening. The committee jumped Oklahoma State over us and put them in the 5 spot, and we remain at number 6. Not really shocked by that, because like I said in the last video, in the Stanford recap, the committee's been very high on Oklahoma State, and you can't blame them. Oklahoma State has been playing some very good football. They had a big win over Oklahoma in the Bedlam game, and so I really wasn't sure which way they would go, but I was leaning towards them jumping Oklahoma State ahead of us, and that did turn out to be the case. So what does this mean for us? Well, let me just say this. For starters, and Gary Barta even said this himself, but the situation with our coaching and all that, Brian Kelly leaving, that should not be a factor. The only factor that should be considered here is your body of work on the field. And really that's what it should be permanently. I mean, you can't punish a team for a coach jumping off the coaching carousel and taking a new job. That's not the player's fault. But unfortunately, I do know that the committee is going to eventually look at that. That could hurt us, potentially anyway. So what this means for us going forward, we have to hope for definitely these two big things to happen. Number one, Georgia has to beat Alabama. Not just beat them, but beat them convincingly in the SEC championship game. And I'm not talking like just by 10 points. I'm talking like at least 17-21. I think that would be pretty convincing. But of course, I would love to see more than that. Hopefully that turns out to be the case. Nothing against Alabama, not hating on them. Just I want my team to make the playoffs. I don't think anybody could blame me for that. And number two, Baylor has to take down Oklahoma State in the Big 12 championship, because we need the Big 12 champion to be a 2-loss team. Because let's face it, if Oklahoma State wins, they're going to get that 4 spot. Cincinnati will move up to 3, Michigan to 2, and so on, right? So go Baylor. Now, Iowa beating Michigan in the Big 10 championship, I would like that to happen, but at this point in time, I can't see that happening. I just think Michigan is too powerful of a team for Iowa, but Iowa's pulled off a couple big ones this year, so we'll see. And then this one I'm kind of torn on. Cincinnati and Houston in the American Athletic Conference Championship game. Do I want Cincinnati to lose, or do I want them to win? I'm kind of torn on that because, I mean, obviously, our only loss being to them and the fact that they're number 4 in the country right now in the playoff rankings, that's our only loss. It's not hurting us extremely bad. But at the same time, Houston beating them could knock them out. But at the same time, if Houston knocks them out, will they drop behind us or will they stay put in front of us? That's the dilemma I'm having here with that game. But definitely the first two that I mentioned, go Georgia, go Baylor. That has to happen without a doubt. The only question is those two scenarios, will that be enough for us to get into the 4 spot? I don't know at this point. It's really tough to tell, but all I know is those two things definitely have to happen for us to have a chance. And, I just don't know if it'll be enough. That's the only concern I have, but I'd like to think that it would. And one thing to consider also, if Georgia does not beat Alabama convincingly, let's say it's a 1-score game, could that committee leave in Alabama with 2 losses? There's always that concern too. It has happened before. So, yeah, Georgia has to beat Alabama convincingly and knock them out for good. So yeah, that's what has to happen as far as the playoffs go. The picture and the scenarios are pretty clear and set of what needs to happen for us to have a shot. If not, we're looking at for sure a Fiesta Bowl bid, because that's the one bowl that seems to really want us. Not saying that the Peach Bowl couldn't take us, but Fiesta is looking like the likely destination if we miss out on the playoffs. But yeah, a couple things I want to address while I'm doing this video. Listen, I stick by with what I said about this being a bitch move on Brian Kelly's part, but that doesn't mean I'm just going to discredit everything that he did for us. I mean, he took us to places. He really did well for us. And of course, I had people jumping on and saying, "Oh, good riddance, goodbye. I'm glad you're gone, Kelly," all that crap. No. If you be pissed about him leaving, but don't just discredit and say that he didn't do anything for us. Saying he didn't really do anything. He was a mediocre coach, just that. People, he took us to places that we hadn't been since Lou Holtz. He at least got us to playoffs and national title games. 10 undefeated seasons, double-digit win seasons. We weren't getting that with the mixture of Bob Davie, Ty Willingham, and Charlie Weiss. So for you people who just completely discredit him and have these ridiculous high standards, not saying you shouldn't have standards, but it's ridiculous that you can't just give him some credit. I mean, I'm pissed off that he did what he did last night, but I'm not going to just completely ignore all the good that he did for us. It seems like all you people who do that crap just focus on the bad. It's ridiculous. And honestly, those of you who dislike Brian Kelly so much, I think you only dislike him because of other things, not because of his coaching. And if anybody wants to know what I'm talking about, ask me in the comment section and I will gladly tell you. And also, another thing too, will you people please give it up with the academic standards argument? I am so tired of it. Listen, I'll just make this quick and to the point. Yes, it's true. Not all these top recruits have the grades or the GPA to get into Notre Dame. I've never denied that. But at the same time, not all of them are like that. There's a lot of them that do have the grades to get into Notre Dame. But for whatever reason, they choose to go somewhere else for various reasons. Maybe it's a better fit for them. Maybe it's because they want to be closer to home. But you can't use the academic argument when we've been getting to the playoffs, winning like we have been. And I agree, we've come up short. I'm not denying that. That speaks for itself. But you cannot use the academic standards at Notre Dame as a reason. Because I told one guy earlier, it doesn't matter if you go to Notre Dame or somewhere else where the academics are more relaxed. It's not going to be easy. And that's what I've been telling people since this news broke with Brian Kelly. It's not going to be easy for him down there. Yeah, he might have more recruiting pipelines open up to him, but it's not going to be easy. And there's no guarantee that he's going to win a national title down at LSU. You go ask Nick Saban and Dabo Sweeney at Clemson, and even ask Kirby Smart, even though he hasn't won it yet, but ask Kirby Smart and all these guys. It's not easy to win. You may have, like I said, you may have all these pipelines galore available to you, but I guarantee you they will say it's not been easy. So, yeah, the academic standard at Notre Dame, it's not an excuse. So I'm sick to death of it. It is giving me a headache every time it gets brought up, and it's getting repetitive. Just stop. So on that note, everyone, that's all I have for you in this video. And as always, God bless, good night, and go Irish.